Hey everybody, welcome into another edition of the Alabama Crimson Tide Daily Recruiting Nugget. As always, I'm Tyler Waldrop here with Andrew Bone. And Bone, today we're talking about four-star wide receiver Brian Thomas, but we had some news come out about him recently.
Yeah, so as of right now, he has a top four: Alabama, LSU, Georgia, and Texas A&M. Now, we all kind of think it's between two schools, Alabama and LSU, because it's the only two schools out of the top four that he's visited, and he's visited both
Hmm.
those schools multiple times. And there's been some going back and forth as to when he's going to make a decision. And I would say probably about a month ago when we first talked about him in one of these daily nuggets. And what we're going to start doing on these daily nuggets is, anytime there's a big, anything big,
Hmm.
news wise, top five, a top two, anything like that. Even if we've already, kind of broken down these guys, we're gonna break them down again and kind of show exactly where. Things stand in their recruitment. So, with Brian Thomas, like I said, he has a top four right now. Last month, we talked about how he was going to wait until potentially the Under Armour All America game
Hmm.
in January. Now there's a lot of talk about a decision potentially coming before the season starts. And I think that obviously bodes pretty well for Alabama or LSU at this time. I don't think it bodes well for Texas A&M or
Hmm.
Georgia, since they didn't get a visit from him or haven't yet. Now he still could visit both those programs here in the fall, but I think this decision is coming down to Alabama and LSU, and it's getting extremely tight because for the longest time, probably for the last, I would say, at least year, we've thought that Alabama was in the driver's seat for Brian Thomas, and
Hmm.
really felt that way up until maybe about a month ago, maybe in the last couple of weeks, and really started to hear a lot of talk about LSU, how they were starting to trend in the right direction for him. He's developed a very strong relationship with their coaching staff, but from what we're hearing right now, Alabama has not gone away. Even with three wide receiver commitments right now, three outstanding wide receiver commitments, and Alabama really only probably taking four in this recruiting class. There's still a spot there for Brian Thomas if he wants it, and I think they're really, making a big push for him at this time. And would not be surprised if we saw Brian Thomas in Alabama's recruiting class.
I mean, can you imagine this receiver class with Brian Thomas in it?
I mean, it certainly would be one of the best that Alabama's been able to put together. I mean, obviously, everybody's going to always resort to to that 2017 class because you had, Devontae Smith, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, three potential first-round draft picks at the wide receiver position, all in one recruiting class. I mean, that's just unbelievable. And this group is a very talented group already. I mean, three guys on board that Alabama loves. They hold in high regard. And if they got Brian Thomas on board, especially going into, if they can go into Louisiana again a year
Hmm.
after um, LSU wins the national championship and goes in and still is one of the best recruits in the state of Louisiana, especially at the wide receiver position, because we all know about Alabama's success at receiver. Well, LSU's starting to have some success there as well, and Jamar Chase potentially leaving after this upcoming season. He's coming back for his junior year this year, and obviously he had a monster sophomore season, and the talk of the college football world this past year. So if Alabama can go in there, get Brian Thomas away from LSU, I think that's a monumental recruiting win, because we talk about how Alabama and LSU go head to head for top recruits all the time, and they have for years.
Hmm.
But this would be a year after LSU
Hmm.
won the national championship, and it seems to be all the momentum, all the talk. Alabama going in there and still flexing its muscles and being able to get a star player like Brian Thomas. That would be a huge get for Alabama if they were able to land him.
Yeah, and then I looked back at the nugget we did back at the end of May, and the question we sort of posed is, Alabama's had two guys then. We were talking about Christian Leary, who's since committed, and we're talking about, is Alabama going to run out of spots for receiver by the time Thomas is ready to commit? Well, Thomas moved up. Is it possible those things are related? Is he maybe moving up his decision date because Alabama is running out of spots for receivers?
Yeah, well, it's possible. I mean, with Alabama only taking, the plan is to only take four receivers in this class, and they have three wide receiver commitments right now. So, I mean, it certainly puts a lot of pressure on other targets that are out there. And Brian Thomas has been a premier target for Alabama for a long
Mhm.
time. I mean, this isn't just a guy that they started recruiting in the last
Mhm.
couple months. I mean, this is a 2-year ongoing thing. And I thought one of the most interesting parts of his recent interview that's on BamaInsider.com today is he mentioned recently talking to Julio Jones. In all my years of covering recruiting, I've never seen a single receiver say, Julio Jones reached out to
Mhm.
me, or I've talked to him. I've never seen that before. I've seen it with some other players, but never with Julio. And I think that's that says a lot. That says how probably important he is. Brian Thomas is to this recruiting class. He's a little bit different than all the other guys. I mean, he's a big guy at 6'4",
Mhm.
195 pounds. Definitely a big matchup problem on the outside, and he could certainly would be a welcomed addition to this class. I mean, all these receivers, all kind of different, and
Mhm.
getting him on board would be a huge win for the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, I mean, you get the feel that Alabama kind of brought out the big guns here late, getting Julio involved.
Oh yeah, I mean absolutely. You get Julio involved in a recruit, then you know that he's a big time target for you, and somebody that you feel like can come in and make a tremendous impact.
So, that's just the update on Brian Thomas. We wanted to get this out quick to y'all, up today, since things are starting to change and things are changing fast. Like Bone said, everything seemed to sort of be going LSU, and then Alabama gets, Julio makes a phone call, and suddenly things are going the other direction. We wanted to make sure that we were getting this nugget up for y'all today, so y'all can read that and kind of be up to date, and then we'll just follow along with y'all and kind of see what happens. And if Thomas does choose to commit, make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. We're going to have videos, 2-3 videos probably up about that when that happens. And we're going to have the content at BamaInsider.com as soon as it's available.